So the Philadelphia Eagles come off the bye week and play a Washington football team that is in worse shape than you can imagine. After Washington came off a tough loss to the Dallas Cowboys, they had quite a few injuries, not just to the receiver Terry McLaurin, quarterback Taylor Heineke, and some defensive players. They're also facing down the coronavirus as well, where multiple players have popped up on the NFL's coronavirus reserve list. And for the Eagles looking in this game, they find themselves in a very fortunate matchup right now. The Eagles coming off their bye week, coming off fairly healthy for the most part. Yes, they did have a couple players pop up on their Corona-19 virus list as well, but it's only 2 players, and we'll see whether they'll be able to become active for the game. But they're not major players. Unlike Washington, who has half their defensive line, one of their corners, Kyle Fuller, he's already going to be out for the game. That's already definitive. So, hey, that's life. It's unfortunate. You would rather, as an Eagles fan, you would rather play Washington at their best and beat them at their best. But sometimes that's how life goes. And in the NFL, any given Sunday, just because a team's beat up and down in the dumps and looks like they're basically got nothing left, they can surprise you and they can beat anybody in this league. So just because the Eagles have an opponent that looks like they're wounded and in trouble doesn't mean that they should take the Washington lightly. But besides the coronavirus issues going on, there's also another storyline in this game developing. This week, Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew have been splitting first-team reps. Now, what the Eagles have been saying is that it's because of Jalen Hurts' injury. He has a high ankle sprain, which is one of the more difficult ankle sprains to come back from, which is interesting because that wasn't really mentioned last week, but now it's being mentioned. And I think the argument's the same thing as when it was against the Jets. If Jalen Hurts is not 100% to 95% healthy, then he should not play. Because the biggest factor of his game right now is his running ability. If Jalen Hurts is able to run and be effective, he should play. Period. End of discussion. Because we have to figure out what the Eagles have in Jalen Hurts. But if Jalen Hurts is not healthy, if Jalen Hurts is maybe 85%, he seems to have a little bit of a limp, he just doesn't seem to be all there, then you should play Gardner Minshew because Gardner Minshew showed he can run this offense effectively. Now, is this a smokescreen? Is this a setup for something? Who knows? This is the Eagles. They've typically played these things very close to the vest. Last week, we found out when Gardner Minshew was going to be the quarterback. We didn't find out till Saturday night. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it's a similar situation this week. We won't find out who's going to be the starter until Saturday. Maybe they're getting Gardner Minshew prepared because, what if they want Jalen Hurts to go play? He doesn't look good. He's not comfortable. They get Gardner Minshew ready to come in immediately and play. That's a possibility too. Or could it be there might be a legitimate quarterback competition? Was there some doubt leaking in the Nick Sirianni's mind? Because after the Jets game, he was saying, Jalen's my guy. But they kind of toned it back, or at least they changed their tune by saying, hey, right now he's not healthy. We got to get all these guys ready. I don't have all the information right now. It's very possible the Eagles are playing smoke screens here. They don't want Washington to know what's going on top of the fact that Washington has their own issues right now as well. So it's very possible that the Eagles are playing mind games right now, which you've seen the Eagles long enough. This is what they typically do. They try and outsmart people. They try and think they're the smartest team in the room, which they're not. They're typically not the smartest team in the room. They basically outthink themselves, and which is the reason why you end up drafting Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson, which is why they end up taking J.J. Arcega-Whiteside over DK Metcalf. They think they're outsmarting people when really they're not. So with that little tidbits out of the way, looking at the game, when you look at the stats, when you look at how these teams have been playing, Washington had been pretty hot coming into the Dallas game until Dallas just took a sledgehammer and smacked them over the head. Washington came back into the game, but Dallas had kind of taken their foot off the pedal. If they would have kept going, pedal in the metal, Dallas would have destroyed Washington. But Washington still showed they're willing to fight back and get back into the game. And the Eagles, they've been on a pretty nice winning streak too, until that Giants game where everything just fell off the rails. And then all of a sudden, Gardner Minshew comes in for the Jets, and now we have a quarterback competition. So it's a very interesting game. These are two teams that have played very well recently, that do some of the similar things and kind of have some similar troubles and issues going on right now too. But with the Eagles, I think the key is simple. Run the ball, hold on to the football, and wear down this Washington defense. Because even if Washington's DNs like Josh Allen, Montez Sweat, if these guys are hurt, even if they play, you want to wear them down. And the Eagles have the perfect formula to do it, especially with Jordan Howard coming back this week. All signs appear that Jordan Howard's going to play this week, which is great news. Because now we can see Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard sharing carries. We have our Thunder and Lightning together. And if you remember watching early in the 2019 season, seeing how Jordan Howard was able to wear teams down and sprinkling Miles Sanders in to pop off runs. Even if you do it reverse, which most likely will happen this time around. Having Miles Sanders scatter around and Jordan Howard pound up the middle, you're going to really wear down a defense because they have to guard both, and then it's just going to tire them out throughout the game. And at this point, if Taylor Heineke, it seems like he's hurt, he's not going to be 100%, and even so, he didn't really look that great last week. He's a gunslinger. He's going to make mistakes. You make him make mistakes, and you continue running the football and wearing down that defense, you're going to be able to score on Washington and put up points. You can do that. But you have to control the time of possession, and you have to run the football. Because simple enough. We saw it in the beginning of that Jets game. The Eagles' defense cannot stop a wet paper bag. They can't stop anything. Jonathan Gannon does not adjust this defense enough, and he doesn't do it quick enough. Yeah, they eventually did it against the Jets. But the fact of the matter is, why did it take you so long? You saw what you were doing wasn't working in the first and second drive. Make your changes then and there. Why are you waiting so long? If you do that against Washington, Washington's too good. They'll make you pay every single time. They're not the Jets. You can't just give up 3 touchdowns to a football team and sit there and say, well, our defense will get it together later. No, you can't do that. You do that, and you might be down 21-0. Which is why I think you have to be able to run the football and play time of possession on the Washington. You got to be able to play time of possession. You got to be able to dominate it. I'm going to say keys to victory for the Eagles are simple. You run the football. Let's see the Thunder and Lightning get together. Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard. Use them both. Even if you give them both 15 carries apiece. That's going to be good to see what they can do. Get them both in a rhythm. Get them both comfortable. Get them to wear down this defense. And then secondly, on offense, take some shots downfield. Take a shot to DeVante Smith early. If Washington's defense is going to be down quite a few guys, if they're not going to be able to get pass rushers on the field because of either corona or injuries, then you got an opportunity to set up a good pocket for either Jalen Hurts or Gardner Minshew and let them be able to look downfield and make throws. And it's true, it's going to hurt the Eagles a little bit going deep without Quez Watkins. That's going to hurt them. But you still have DeVante Smith, who he's having a great rookie year. Give him a deep shot. Throw it to DeVante Smith deep. Let him go make a play, just like he did against Patrick Surtain in Denver. Let DeVante Smith be that number 1 receiver. Nick Sirianni said in his press conference this week, DeVante Smith is a go-to guy. Then treat him like one. Feed him like one. I want to see at least 6 or 7 targets towards DeVante Smith. Not 2 or 3. Don't be throwing it to Rager. Don't be putting Rager as the number 1. That's asinine. You put DeVante Smith as a number 1. And if you need a number 2 or a complimentary guy, the guy's Dallas Goedert. Simple as that. Dallas Goedert is a monster and should be used as such. Him and DeVante Smith are your 2 best weapons. And along with using your running backs such as Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard, that should be the focal point of your offense right there. You can sprinkle in a little Rager, sprinkle in a little some of the other receivers, but your focal point should be DeVante Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jordan Howard, Miles Sanders. That should be your offense, and you roll it from there. Whoever the quarterback is, it really shouldn't matter. The game plan should be pretty similar of what you would like to set up during the game. But I will say this, for both quarterbacks, here's going to be my views for the game, depending on which quarterback plays and which ones doesn't. If Jalen Hurts ends up getting the start, I want to see how he rebounds after the Giants game. You got to see Gardner Minshew run this offense against the Jets. You saw how efficient it was. You saw how good it looked. You saw the plays that were being hit downfield. I want to see if Jalen Hurts learns from this and takes a step forward now. You got to see the offense from a different perspective. So now what have you done to improve yourself from that? I still want Jalen Hurts to run the football. It's a weapon. It's a part of his game. It's a great part of his game. But he's got to be able to look downfield and make those plays downfield. He's got to be able to consistently read the field, and he has struggled at that at times this season. And especially against the Giants, which there really should have been no reason why he struggled. So hopefully he went back, saw the film, learned from his mistakes, saw the Jets tape, saw what Minshew did, and he takes that and he goes forward against Washington, and he has a great game. But that's what I would like to see if Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. Now, if it's Gardner Minshew, for Gardner Minshew, I'm like, okay, I saw what you did against the Jets. Do it again. Do it again against Washington. If he's going to be taking these shots downfield, he's going to let these receivers make plays, great, awesome. I love that. I want to see him continue to attack defenses down the field. I want to see that swagger and confidence going. Not that I don't want to see it from Jalen too. I like seeing it from Jalen too. But Gardner being the backup, he's got to get the guys pumped and motivated. And he did that against the Jets. He will need to do that again against Washington if that's the case. But for Gardner, I want to see him continue to push the ball downfield, along with the fact, protect that football. Push it downfield, take your chances when they're appropriate. But I still want you to protect the football. Don't get careless with it. Because, you're feeling good after last week, you're slinging it around. Last thing I want to do is have them sling it around last week and then this week come out and throw 4 turnovers. I don't want to see that. But that's what I want to see from Gardner. I want to see Gardner have another week with these guys, be even sharper this week. And Jalen, I want to see him rebound. But wherever that goes, either one of these quarterbacks, the Eagles should be able to take care of this game. It's unfortunate that Washington has the injuries that it does. We don't even know who's going to be playing and who's not going to be playing yet. And we probably won't know until Saturday. So it's kind of tough to see who's going to do what for Washington maybe. But the one thing about Washington is you could say this. They're a scrappy bunch. Ron Rivera will get them ready to play. And they'll be ready to play. He always has a way. Ron Rivera's teams, they may not be the best teams in the world, but they're always solid. They're good fundamentally. And they're going to play tough. And it's one thing you can always say from Ron Rivera. His teams will always do that. So the Eagles cannot let their guard down against Washington. Otherwise, they'll be embarrassed like they were against the Giants. But right now, I got to say, my prediction for the game, I think the Eagles are going to go ahead. They're going to run the football early. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They're going to hit plays to Dallas Goedert. I think DeVante Smith is going to be more featured this week, just based on what Nick Sirianni was saying. But I think he's going to be more featured. I think DeVante will have a good game. I think Goddard will get his plays in here and there. And I think Miles Sanders and Jordan Howard will wear down this Washington defense, and they'll give the Eagles the win. Final, I'm going to go with 30-21 Eagles. So I'm going to go into my Week 15 picks of the week now. So Thursday Night Football, we got the Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Both these teams have been playing pretty well, but the Chiefs are on absolute fire right now. They absolutely kicked the Raiders' butt last week. And the way that their defense is playing right now, along with their offense, I think it's too much for the Chargers. Yeah, Chargers are at home. I think the Chiefs are going to be a little annoyed they lost that first game to the Chargers in Kansas City, and they're going to want a little bit of retribution tonight. So I'm going to go Chiefs over the Chargers. Next, got the Raiders taking on the Browns. The Raiders are in free fall right now. They had an embarrassing game last week, and now they got to go to Cleveland and take on a Browns team who came off a good win against the Ravens. I think the Browns got too much. I'm going to go Cleveland in this game. A very interesting matchup here with the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts. So Colts quarterback Carson Wentz is about 10 to 12 snaps from being able to clinch the Eagles a first-round pick. So as an Eagles fan, you're just hoping Carson Wentz plays 10 plays and you're good at that point. You don't care what happens afterwards. But when you actually look in this game, these are two teams who are playing very good football. Very similar mentalities. They both like running the football and playing very good defenses, and they like their quarterbacks to take advantage of what those defenses do. Yes, Indy's at home, and Carson Wentz, he's played very well at times, especially with Jonathan Taylor as a running back, but how can you bet against Bill Belichick right now? the way he organizes his defense, the way he's got Mac Jones playing and that offense rolling, I got to go New England in this game. They're the best team in the AFC right now, and I don't see why that won't continue. Next, got the Titans taking on the Steelers. Hey, this is who you got, game. I think the Steelers, they're just one of those weird teams. For even the past few years, whenever the Steelers play a good team, they're going to play them tough. Whenever they play a bad team, they're going to play them bad, but it's always going to be close. I'm going to say Titans will win this game, though. I think they've got too much talent. I think they got too many weapons. I think the Titans will win this game against Pittsburgh and really hurt their playoff chances. Next, we got the Panthers taking on the Bills. The Bills have just been getting tough break after tough break. They've been losing to really good football teams, and they just haven't gotten it done against those guys. And now they're in trouble of possibly missing the playoffs. But good news for the Bills, they get some cupcake matchups now. And starting with the Carolina Panthers, who basically are just a show right now for Cam Newton's retirement tour. That's what they are. So I'm going Buffalo in this game. They should be able to handle the Panthers fairly easily. Next, we got the Texans and the Jaguars. Jaguars have just fired, or like last night, Urban Meyer. I mean, that tenure has been a complete and utter disaster. Trevor Lawrence has not looked good really at all this year. There's a few times he looked like maybe he's starting to show some promise, but whatever happened in Jacksonville, he's gone now. And probably in the Jaguars' opinion, good riddance. So maybe the Jaguars rebound this game. I'm going to give the Jaguars the win here. They're going to have a different guy running the system. Maybe they call some better plays for Trevor Lawrence. Maybe we see a different offense, a more comfortable offense for both Trevor Lawrence and a lot of these players. But just because of that unknown factor, I'm going to give the Jaguars the win over the Texans here. Next, we've got the Dallas Cowboys going up to the New York Giants. Look, I think it's pretty simple. The Giants have been banged up and injured and haven't been healthy. And even when they are healthy, they're still not that good. And Dallas, even if Dallas plays probably a B game, they'll still get the job done against this Giants team. I gotta go Dallas. They're in control of everything right now. They just gotta take care of their business, and I think they will. Next, got the Cardinals taking on the Lions. Cardinals had a tough break on that Monday nighter. They lost some guys. DeAndre Hopkins, he's out for the rest of the season. Let's see how the Cardinals rebound now. They're no longer the top team. They need some help if they want to get back to that number one seed, and it starts with Detroit this week. And Arizona, you better stop the bleeding. Because if you don't, you guys are in a lot of trouble. But I'm going to pick the Cardinals this week. Next, we got the Jets taking on the Dolphins. The Dolphins have completely turned it around to my chagrin because the Eagles hold the Dolphins' first-round pick. But, hey, they're doing what they got to do. Tua's looked good enough. They've been getting the job done. And they're playing the Jets. The Jets have been an absolute joke this season. I think that continues. I'm going to say Miami wins this game. Next, got the Bengals taking on the Broncos. The Broncos are one of those solid teams. They just don't go away. They'll win enough games to be relevant, but they're never going to be good enough to really scare anybody. And the Bengals, they shocked some people early. They've lost some games maybe they should have won. And here we go. Now they got to play a tough Denver team in Denver. It's going to be a tough matchup for them. I'm going to go with the Bengals here still. I think they're going to get it right, but they got to stop letting me down. The Bengals got to get something going here, and they got to do it sooner rather than later. Next, got the Falcons taking on the 49ers. I mean, 49ers look pretty good. They've looked pretty good. And they're one of those teams, when they get something going, they'll just start firing on all cylinders. And Atlanta has been one of those weird teams. Sometimes they look good, sometimes they don't. This is a big game for playoff seeding right here. I'm going to go with the home team in the 49ers just because I like their defense a lot more. And I don't know how much Matt Ryan has left in the tank. But I'm going to go with the 49ers here. Next, we got the Seahawks playing the Rams. The Seahawks, they looked a little bit like themselves last week against Houston. But you were playing Houston. And then the Rams come off a huge emotional win against the Cardinals. I'm wondering if there's going to be a little bit of a letdown at home against the Seattle team who's not as good as they have been in years past. I'm kind of concerned of possibly a little bit of a trap game here. But I think Sean McVay and that coaching staff will get the Rams going, and they should still be able to take care of this game and get a win. Next, got the Packers taking on the Ravens. Look, Packers look like one of the best damn teams in the NFL. Period. The way they just take care of business, even as sloppy as they looked against the Bears last week. Aaron Rodgers, when it came down to it, he's proved he still owns the Bears. Sad truth, Chicago fans, I'm sorry. But the Ravens, I think, are going to be no different. Possibly they're going to be without Lamar Jackson, and that's going to be a huge blow to that Ravens team. I don't think they're going to beat Green Bay in this game. I got Green Bay winning easy. Next, got the Saints taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look, Tom Brady, once again, doing what he does best, leading the team late in December. Should be very interesting what he does and what the Tampa does against the Saints. They should be able to take care of business easy peasy like they've done in years past. The Saints, they got quarterback issue. I'm not a huge fan of Taysom Hill, just in the fact I really think he's just a gimmick player. But I'm going to go Tampa Bay in this game. They should be able to take care of it pretty easily. And to wrap the week up on Monday Night Football, we got the Vikings taking on the Bears. The Bears, look, they played a valiant game against the Packers. They did. They showed some good things, but they showed some bad things. They're definitely a team trying to improve, and you can see that there's potential for them. But the Vikings got too much damn talent, and I think that's going to be the difference in this game. You know, you got all those receivers. You got Dalvin Cook, who's healthy finally. So I'm going to go Vikings in this game on Monday night. And with that, that wraps up my picks of the week of Week 15 in the NFL. And with that, I want to thank you guys for listening to the Process YouTube channel. If you like what I got to say, please hit the like button. And if you agree or disagree with what I got to say, please say in the comment section below. And with that, I'll catch you all later. Peace.